Alrighty, hello. This is episode 6 of Social Leverage with moi, Devani, and Rob Anspach. And today, in episode 6, we're going to be talking about SEO, which is search engine optimization, and how it merges and works with social marketing. So we'll be delving into that. If you would like to keep up with the Social Leverage show, where we have a new episode every single week about some online marketing topic, the Facebook group is in the little chat box, and if you're listening to this recording, then it's below in the article. So, yep, that is that, and we're gonna dive in. So, if I'm gonna take a guess, seeing the list of folks who are already listening live, that most of you probably know what SEO is and social marketing. But if you don't, I'm just gonna do a super quick run through. SEO is search engine optimization. So it's the way, the meta, the back-end way that you get found on Google and search engines so that your potential clients and customers can find you. And then social media is obviously the social platforms where you connect with people and get your content out there.
Now, one of the things that we're going to talk about, hopefully, right? You know what? Let's just talk about it right now, because we'll get it right out of the bag, is Facebook doesn't always see what you post right away. The links that you create, say for your blogs or for your websites, Facebook is slow to pick them up. So you might go and post it to Google Plus or LinkedIn or Twitter, and it'll populate your picture. It'll populate, your descriptions. Facebook is a little slow with that. So I'm going to actually share with you a link in the message center there. And this is a way to debug your link. As soon as you create it, just go to this link and put the new link right in the debugger, which is Facebook, and Facebook will actually what's the word? Scroll it. And then every time now when you post that, you'll see how it shows up on Facebook. So here's the link, and it's a great tool, because every time that you make a change, Facebook is always going to use the last thing that they cached from your site. So it's always good to tell them, hey, this is what's going on. This is what's new. And to, look at that site, to debug that link, and that'll actually, make their site or make your site work better on Facebook.
Yes, this is live for the person who just chimed in, unless you're listening to the recording, which you're not, because I just replied to you. So with the Facebook debugger tool, how is that just something that allows you to fix problems on your link to make it be pushed out to the public? How does that work? I know that I use it whenever the Facebook image doesn't work when I post to a page, but what else? Because I noticed when you look at it, it'll say, here are the errors, and sometimes it'll say,
yeah, it'll show all the errors that you're experiencing, or at least Facebook is picking up. It'll also show any pixels that you're using for Facebook. So if you have a pixel tracking code in your website, it'll tell you whether or not it's working. And I just discovered one that I had this morning. I guess it was an old code that was still on that particular site that I needed to change out.
Got it.
So it's good that, you check it every now and then, or when you have a new link or page or post that you created, go on in there, and it'll fetch the new scrape information, which will tell you, if the site is good or bad.
Got it. And there's a question here from said something. I'm sorry if I messed up your name. I really didn't mean to. He says, how is content marketing different from marketing? Okay, so content marketing is a type of marketing. So there's many different types of marketing. Obviously, there's social media, there's SEO, there's email, and content marketing is your main. It's like blog posts or videos. It's the main bulk of what you produce as a business owner. So whether that's blogging, but marketing can't do so. Right, exactly. So all your marketing sorry, those questions came in fast. So yes, content can marketing can't exist without content, but not all your content is content marketing. Like what you post on social media isn't necessarily content marketing. The content is more what you post on your blog or on your YouTube channel as the meat of what you then push out to all your other social channels through your email, through your Facebook, whatever else. So the content is sort of like your foundation. And so you should definitely spend a lot of time creating quality content. So yeah, I hope that answers that question. Speaking.
Now with the content that you create for YouTube, make sure that you always include your website link or a link that they can find you. I mean, I always prefer a website link because that creates a backlink back to your website. And the more backlinks that you have, or the more relevant backlinks that you have, the better. You know, linking your site to somebody that does spam is not going to help your site. So, use credible sources, link to them, and that way it helps give your website more authority.
So can you talk a little bit about how you gain your own backlinks? So like how do you get other valuable, popular, good quality sites to link back to you?
Well, one of the things is join some of these I can't call them chat rooms. What do they call them? Bulletin boards, or Quora is a good site to join, because here you're
did you say Quora?
Quora? Have you ever gone on that site?
Barely.
It's a site where people ask questions and you can go in and give them, your opinion or your experience or your feedback. And, you create you can give them your link to your site. You can give them answers. So now what happens is people are going in there and creating, their profiles and their answers and their questions. And as that starts to populate through Google and all the other search engines, when people go to type in, hey, what is Quora? What is, how does this work? Now your stuff is starting to pop up because you answered that. You can go on and answer other people's WordPress blogs, because every time you make a comment to a WordPress blog, as long as it's not spammy, thanking them for their, their article, hey, this really helped in my situation. Thank you very much. You can leave your, your email and your, your web address, and that's creating a backlink.
Cool.
I've noticed that so many people create blogs, but they're not getting any engagement. Always encourage people to engage in your blog, because that way you're creating traffic. And when Google sees that you have traffic coming out of your site, coming into your site, then they say, well, you're providing good user experience, and that's what Google wants to see. So you have social media where you're creating your user experience because you're creating posts and you're answering comments, but you need to do the same thing on your blog and, on your website itself.
So what are ways that people can rank, not necessarily quickly? I think a lot of people, especially when they're starting out, they want to know what's the quickest way that I can get to the top of Google. And I think that's fine, but I think the most important point and differentiator here is it's not about ranking quickly, it's about creating really good, valuable content. And I think that a lot of people get, one second. Yeah, they get confused.
Because, I can rank any website for, a keyword, but if it's not the keyword that people are looking for, then it's totally pointless. So, like with our show, Social Leverage, if you Google Social Leverage show, you're going to see our videos are popping up on Google on page 1. But until we get to probably episode 20 and people are saying, hey, I really love that show, it's a lot of information, then they right now they probably won't be Googling Social Leverage show because they don't know that there's a show out there.
But instead they'd be looking, they'd find us via something like, if they were to search, how do you use Snapchat, or is Snapchat worth it for my business? Because we've covered that topic. Or, what's the value of Facebook groups, or, the different topics we've covered. One second.
So if anybody has, there you go.
That's how you do it.
Just gonna say. We'll put him on and put him on a spot.
There we go. It's taking a minute. It could be connected. There we go. Hello.
How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Are you able to hear me?
I am.
We can.
Cool. So I have this question to ask. So we have search engine and we have a social media account like Facebook. So if I'm a company and I want to target my audience using PPC model, what is the best platform to choose? Is it search engine, PPC, or on social media?
So your question is whether or not to use like Facebook versus Google when it comes to, your targeted ads.
Did you hear that?
I think I can hear him, but he can't hear me.
Okay, we'll wait for you to maybe type it out a little bit. I think he was asking how he should use PPC.
Yeah, pay-per-click. I mean, which one is better? I think he was looking at. But, here's the thing is that when you're deciding what to do, and, I used AdWords for a long time, but it seems right now everybody is going to the Facebook, targeted ads. And Facebook is still much cheaper. Although Google is the ranking search engine out there, Facebook now is creating, wants you to use their content more often. It's the most visited per hour network. Google is still the default search engine.
Yeah, that's a good thing to keep in mind in terms of where you should focus time and energy. And I would say you should focus on, so the first thing you focus on, above pretty much everything else, is creating quality content. That's like first and foremost in business, because you can have an amazing platform and just no content at all. In fact, I saw this great meme the other day on Pinterest, I think it was, and it was like this cartoon, and this guy was standing on this golden platform, but he was selling something that looked a little bit not so great. But then there was this other person on a smaller platform, but they had really focused on the quality of their content. And so they had more sales, they had more relationship with people because they focused on quality. And I think if you blend those two, then that's sort of the recipe right now that's working. You really need to have substance behind what you're doing, and then also as you develop that substance and get your message out there on the different social media platforms that you like best and that you use best and that work for your business best, that's how you'll end up building the platform and the leverage with your audience, and then leverage with Google, because Google also takes into consideration how popular your content is with the people who engage with it.
And with the Facebook pixel codes, you can do a lot of retargeting. So people that visit your website, you can now retarget them on Facebook, which, is a great thing, because you want to be able to recapture them. Say they went to your website, but they really didn't like what they saw, or they were distracted, or, just something came up that they just didn't want to, continue clicking through. Now you can give them, now you have a second chance to capture them through the pixel codes.
Definitely. And recapturing that, let's talk about that. In terms of SEO and social media, Rob has actually been in the social media world way longer than I have. I kind of jumped in as the old style of SEO was kind of coming to an end and everybody was moving towards social. So I don't have a big background in SEO at all, but Rob definitely does. How has it changed over the years now that social media has kind of taken the limelight?
Well, back when I started my website career, I had owned a carpet cleaning business. And I had owned that carpet cleaning business for about 20 years. And now you're probably going, carpet cleaning to SEO, what's the big deal? But here's the thing is, I had to learn, just like you guys are learning now, all the problems that surfaced while I owned this company. And, back then you could have a website with one page of content, and Google would look at that and say, great, all your keywords are right there. It's great, and some websites are still using the long form. They have no tabs anywhere. It's just, and to me, that's just distracting, because nowadays you need to have separate pages for all your services, separate pages for all your different content, so that each page is now keyworded to the service or the product that you're offering. So if you sell widgets on one page, or and you talk about encyclopedias on another, each page now has to be optimized for the products and services, so that when someone's searching, they only land on the page that they're absolutely looking for. So if you were looking for encyclopedias, but you landed on the widget page, I have no interest in that. I'm going to click off your site, and now you have too many people clicking away. So by creating a website that has multiple pages, and each one is, complementing but also competing against the main page, you have a better chance of not only ranking every single page in your site on page one, but you have a better chance of ranking multiple pages of your site on page one and squeezing out your competition.
Definitely, and I think it gets back to sort of everything moving toward niche marketing, and that doesn't limit your ability to do other things. Like my company, we do the social media, we do email marketing, we do SEO, we do all of that. The whole thing. Rob, he does that. He does web development. He does the whole thing. Yet, when somebody's making a decision, they don't want to be hit with the entire thing you can do. Like, it's a lot easier to make a choice when you have a menu of, here's a couple services, or here's the one page, here's the feature meal, So when they hit your website and they see your page on SEO, they can quickly decide, okay, that's not really what I want, and then move around as needed instead of having to get all that information in one place like a fire hose.
Yeah, the old type of fire hose type marketing doesn't work. So you need to learn how to, if you have a one-page site, even landing pages nowadays aren't being cycled through Google like they used to, because there's very little content on each page. So, the key is to have at least a couple hundred words on each page, so Google sees, hey, you have content on there that is relevant to somebody. If you just have a few words on there and say, hey, this is the home page, no one's going to care. And that's the problem here, is that when you see a site that people are sharing on Facebook, and it shows a little blurb and it says home, that's a no-no. Get all that, if it says home in your meta title, Google's going to look at that and say, well, your home page is the same as 90% of everybody else's. Change it. So if you're selling puppies and it says home, Google's not going to be able to know that you're selling puppies instead of selling homes. So differentiate yourself and go in and change those meta titles, meta descriptions, so that Google.
What tool can people use? What are the SEO tools, both free and paid, that you recommend people investing in to determine what meta and what keywords to focus on for their business, or to analyze?
Well, if everybody has a Mac, that make the world so much easier. But I know that you guys don't. What I do is, on my Mac, I go up to, right next to bookmarks, if you have it, it's called Develop. And if you press Develop and scroll down, you can't do it on Blab, but if you scroll down, you can see the source code of your website. And by knowing what your source code is, you can go into your WordPress and use plugins. And I use all-in-one SEO, because to me it's so much easier, it's cleaner, it's clearer in direction than some of the other ones. Some people like Yoast, and that's okay. Use what you're comfortable with. But with any plugin that you use on your website, know how to use it. Now, there are sites out there, paid sites. There's even paid companies that will help you do traffic. I always tell people it's better first to get your on-page SEO worked on and cleaned, up to the way it's supposed to be, before you start, the off-page SEO. Because it's that on-page SEO that's going to help your site get ranked better before you just start going into, pay-per-click, Facebook ads, all those other things.
Definitely.
So yes, there are paid programs out there, and there's free programs out there, but you have to understand the keywords and the phrases that go to your business. What are people searching for? One of the things and I've written books about this, but one of the elements that I always tell people to do is think like an ape. And that's an acronym for, be analytical, psychological, and emotional in your keywords that you use, when you're putting them or deciding to put into your website for your meta tags and your descriptions.
Someone just asked, what do you guys see a platform like Medium? Where do you see a platform like Medium going? I think Medium is a really growing publishing platform. I feel like it's a lot like LinkedIn articles, except a different crowd. I haven't actually used it as much. Rob, have you used it much?
I've not used Medium at all.
I know people who are successfully gaining lots of views and follows and link backs to their own content and getting viral using it. So I definitely wouldn't discount that as a publishing strategy and a way to get your content out there. I would personally, like if I were going to use it and create a strategy around it for my business, I would publish really deep think pieces that then lead back to your website. So I would definitely use it as a way to link back to your website for sure. I think it'll just constantly be a growing platform because it's really trendy, it's really hip, it's cool. I also think it depends on what you're writing as well. The platform seems very very indie, so a lot of people who are into the indie art space, a lot of people who they're really academic and into like philosophy and those types of topics, as well as social activism. So that seems to be, or even people who are really deep into the technology, Silicon Valley news type world. So that seems to be, from what I've experienced the several times I've read content on the platform, but I'm no expert on it at all. So I would just jump in, test the platform out, see if it works for you first, for sure.
Every platform that's out there has its pros and cons. I prefer LinkedIn when it comes to sharing articles because that's the target market that I'm after, the lawyers, the doctors, the professionals. But you might be into a niche market that's not on LinkedIn. So Medium is going to work great for you. But then there's other platforms that you put a lot of time and effort into that you're just spinning your wheels. So, post a few articles. If you get traction, great, continue. If you don't get traction, try something different.
And I would even say, like, I would say do 4 articles and really gauge consistency, because obviously if you do 1 and it goes nowhere, that's not really a indication of success. So I would say do it consistently, whether it's an article a day for a few weeks, whether it's 1 article a week, 2 articles a week, whatever it is, get on a consistent rhythm and just measure. And if it goes nowhere, then stop. Like I'd say after a month, if nothing's happening, then stop. The more popular sites for business are also Snapchat and Instagram. Yeah, we did a whole show on Snapchat. We'll link that here. We have not talked about Instagram yet, but we will definitely add that as a cue to add probably next week.
Here's the thing, though, with your own blog on your website is that you need to post at least 1 blog, excuse me, 1 blog a month, so that Google sees that you're not abandoning your site. They want you to continue to develop fresh content. Now, you don't have to do a blog every day. You don't have to do one once a week, but you do have to at least put one up once a month. So if you sit down one day and say, well, okay, I got my 12 articles for the year. Great. Put them in your note file and then slowly incorporate them in or post them and then time them out, so that one goes out 1 month, one goes out another month. But you need to be able to, Google needs to see that there's new articles being posted at least once a month.
And I was actually just in a conversation. Yeah, I also like twice a week at least too, personally, but yeah. I was in a conversation with someone in a Facebook group and they were asking, I'm really stuck on publishing, getting content out there, excuse me. And I feel like I need to write more and like longer content. Like it seems like I get to my point too quickly and it's not yet a longer article. It's like maybe a paragraph, and that's okay. You know, there are people who are successful, like a Seth Godin type person. They publish short content. It's, you know, sometimes it's a long 3 paragraphs, sometimes it's 1 paragraph, sometimes it's a single sentence, and that's all it takes to get the point across. And so don't always feel like you have to write long think pieces. I think the average is around like 700 to 1,000 words for Google, but don't feel like you have to reach a certain word limit or a word limit or length, because it's really more about what message are you trying to get across. Can you say it in fewer words and not leave the reader completely confused as to what you're talking about, or do you need to use longer words? So it's sort of like keywords. Don't try and force it. If it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. And so,
well, you know, someone posted below about Google likes posts at least 1,500 words, and really that's not true. You know, it's actually a myth, and you know, and I've proved that over time. You know, writing articles for other people is they're looking for relevance. They're looking for user experience. So yeah, many bloggers say, hey, you know what, I got to write these 1,500 words. No, you don't. No, you don't. And you know, if all you have to say is 300 words and people are like, wow, that's great, and they're giving you comments, and you know, they're saying, you know, thumbs up, and they're giving you high praise, that's all you need. You know, if you want to go out there and write 1,500 words, that's great. But here's the thing, is that most people who aren't experienced bloggers have no idea what to say, and just coming up with 300 words is tough for them. So if you tell someone you got to write 1,500 words, they're never going to blog because it's too much of an effort. And so the thing is and I'm a guy who likes to keep things simple and common sense. So a 500-word article that gets people to engage is more important than a 1,500-word article that's a bunch of fluff. So know your target audience.
And I think, yeah, that's such a great point. Not much more to expand there on that.
I wrote a 1,000-word article for a client that was picked up by a magazine and then shared 4,000 times, and that has been his biggest piece ever to date, and has gotten this guy so much business. So, you know, there was no 1,500 words. And you know, the thing is you want to be able to engage your audience. So, you know, Seth Godin breaks the rules all the time, you know, and he has you know, blogs that range from 100 words to 1,000 words and in between. So there is no rhyme or reason. You know, if Google says, hey, you know, you have to have 1,500 words, there's going to be a lot of people out there that just aren't going to write. It's just too much for them.
Definitely, for sure. And you know, if 1,500 words for you is something that you've gotten into a rhythm of doing and it works for you, like, by all means, keep doing that if it's working. I mean, it's not wrong at all. But at the same time, excuse me, if you're sort of new to blogging and that number freaks you out, don't feel like you have to reach that limit. So definitely. Next question is, I saw many bloggers creating a new content by mixing up their previous work. Is this a good practice? I think it is. Rob, I'll let you answer that one, but I think
here's the trick to that. And every time you make a video, get it transcribed, and then take the transcription and add it to your YouTube channel where the video is. Then add it to your blog. Add it to wherever you're going to, because now you're repurposing that content. You're getting a video, you're transcribing, you're using the transcription now as your article, so people can either watch your video or scroll down and read the transcript. So now that that transcript is out there, it's being picked up by Google, who likes, you know, because Google scans all those words. So now every time someone types in, you know, repurposing content or whatever your term is, they're going to see, you know, your video, your blog, your article, this, you know. So now you create one video and you can turn it into 4 or 5 different things. So, you know, you're creating new content by repurposing the old content.
And also always linking back to old pieces. You can also update old pieces. Like if you're going through your blog post and maybe you wrote an article a year ago and the rules of the game changed and you need to update that article, you update it, smack a new date on it, and that's still Google is seeing that as, okay, you've updated an old article, and so that's also content. So that's definitely a good strategy too. And also lots of original content. There's a lot of websites, and I work with a lot of websites that do media aggregation. And so aggregate media, basically what that is they find quality content on a niche topic, and then they just put a little blurb about it and then link back to the website where the original content is hosted. And that's an interesting strategy. But what we're finding is that the more you can create really good, and again, it gets back to creating really good quality content, the more Google will rank you. And especially if you can carve out your niche topic. So whether it's SEO, whether it's social media, whether it's art, photography, whatever your topic is, if you can carve out that niche and find stories, find ways to tell it better, your experiences, testimonials of people using your methods, whatever it is, client stories, all that original content in every format, written, blog, podcast, live stream, all of that. That is what Google likes. And then your audience also likes seeing that variety of story and quality.
Well, here's a trick too, and take a subject that you love to talk about, and then make a blog that says the top 10 reasons to choose us, or to do this, or to do that, whatever it is, and then spin off all those different reasons into their own articles. Okay, so now you have a main article, but then you have all these sub articles, and you can link them all back to the main article. And what that does for your SEO is it makes that article just skyrocket up the charts. Because now when someone's clicking on maybe a sub article, now they're going to be led to the main article. If they click on the main article, they're going to be led to all your sub articles. So you, in essence, created a link wheel with your articles, and given each one more authority.
Yeah, definitely. And you can even do the same with like if you're a photographer and say you're in the wedding niche, and really cool idea, because we're now in the world where it's not really like stiff competition with everybody. It's collaborating, cooperating, lifting each other up. And so if you're a wedding photographer and you created an article on my top 5 favorite wedding photographers, and you create little blurbs, you shout them out, you say nice things about them that are authentic, and you link to their site, then you're boosting their image and their link, and you're reaching their audience a little bit too, because people who like that wedding photographer will be like, oh, hey, I know him, or oh, hey, that guy did the photo shoot for my wedding, or whatever it is. And same with if you're in business and you use a specific set of tools that you just use on a consistent basis. Like I really like MailChimp. I love Skype. I like Grammarly. Those are tools that I've used and created blog posts about how much I like them, and create like aggregate lists of things. So that's a really good way to boost, because lists are important.
You know, one of the things also you can do is take some of the current events that you're experiencing today, or a movie that you just watched, and create a blog about it, on, how it works with your business. And now you're using current events or, celebrities or whatever in the news, based on what you're experiencing. And now when someone's searching for, let's say, Top Gun, because I think we just experienced the 30th anniversary of Top Gun, the movie, or, for Devani, it could be some Harry Potter thing. You're integrating what people are searching for, and now your blogs are coming up.
Yeah, definitely.
So, writing blogs is not hard. It's just takes a little time, a little effort, but it's just like social media. The years of advertising in phone books is gone. So now it's about relationship building. So, and this is what I tell most of my clients is that, SEO is great, social media is great, but at the end of the day, it's all about relationship building. So you're driving people to your website based on the content and the keywords that you've created, Now, Google is picking those keywords up, and they're saying, yeah, we think that you really fit within this website. Social media now is, once you've captured them in your website, you want to be able to take them over to social media where you're going to create a conversation with them. Or you can create that conversation first and then get them to go to your website where they're going to buy something. So either way, you're trying to build trust with these people to get them to eventually become a customer. Let's see, but don't your audience lose trust with you as they see only bringing some content again and again? Well, here's the thing is that, you're providing them with educational content that's also entertaining and engaging. So, you're providing, something of value to them. And after a while, what I always tell people is don't constantly be trying to sell something on your social media site. That's what your website's for. Get them to, know you, to learn from you, to experience, your joys and pains first. And then you can say, hey, you know what, go over to my website because I have information in there that you probably need to know. Or I have a product that will help you.
And you won't be writing the same content over and over again, but what you will be doing is talking about a niche that you know about. And part of that, it's like at the same time, why would somebody read a new marketing blog when there's a million of them out there? Well, because the person that they're reading from has a specific point of view that aligns with the reader. And maybe they don't align with the big namers. Maybe they need somebody who's smaller that they can feel a one-on-one connection with. Maybe it's the other way around, vice versa, whatever it is. Not everybody will follow the same, not everybody will align with people in the same way. But as I think it might have been Hemingway or somebody said, some great person said this, and they said, everything has been thought of before, everything's been written before. You're not coming to the table with anything new most of the time. Like, probably 99.999% of the time, you're just rewording what has been said for eons, or centuries or hundreds of years or 50 years, whatever. So even then, you're not necessarily coming to the table with something new, but you're putting your spin and your story on it, and that's important.
Yeah, I mean, you're bringing your perspective to the table, and that's what people are coming to. And here's the thing: is I can sell, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, all these different products, and people are going to come to me because they trust me. The other guy that, he's out there selling the snake oils, and people are like, wow, that cures my cancer, that cures my diabetes, that cures everything. But eventually they're going to get burned by that guy, and they're going to come back to you and say, you know what, Rob, I really trust you because you don't do all that pushy crap. So you have to understand the niche that you're going after. You have to understand, their heart and soul. And once you do, it makes that trust creation so much easier.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yes. I love repurposing. And a lot of times, here's the thing too, repurposing content is more about reaching people who might like your content, but they want to see it in a different way, and it allows you to reach other people. Like, you might be on Facebook and you might be on Twitter too, but if a new social media platform comes online, you're going to try and use it because you're going to want to see and test if those people are on that, if your people are on that platform. So you could say, well, you're also on Twitter, but why would you need to be on Facebook? Well, there's different people on Facebook who might also need your message. So that's kind of what repurposing content is like too. Like, I might want to read your article, but maybe Rob doesn't like reading articles. Maybe Rob likes listening to a podcast while he's walking his dogs, and maybe that's the way he wants to consume content. So you don't have to repurpose everything, but it's definitely a great strategy.
Yeah.
I'd say the bulk of your content should be what you enjoy writing or talking or whatever.
For me, I write about things that pop up during the day. I don't have a set structure when I'm going to write. But if I come up with a subject that I think is going to be interesting, then I'll put it in my blog. Hey, thanks for coming back.
So when I was just beginning with this digital marketing, so I was just very much confused what was the first step with digital marketing and what would be the last step. So I just wrote down a blog post around 1200 words. What is the 6 most important components of my digital marketing machine? And since I'm a newcomer, I posted it on 2 different platforms. One was on Medium and one was on the LinkedIn post. And for the first week, I just saw the organic views on the blog post. So Medium was terrible. So I just had a 2 or 3 views on that. On LinkedIn, I received around 50 views. So what I did next was, so I just targeted digital marketers on LinkedIn. I sent them direct messages asking them to read my blog post and let me know their feedback because they are from the digital marketing community. And then onwards, my blog post views reached up to 600.
Awesome.
So I wanted to ask you, is this a good practice for newcomer? And what other strategies I can adopt since I'm a newcomer and mostly neither the search engine knows about my name nor about my brand name. So how can I get more reach?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a good strategy. Just make sure you're being personal. Don't make like a really stiff, formal message to everybody like, read my post, because everybody gets bombarded with that all the time. So I think if you're really personal and you approach the person, like you said, it obviously worked for you. So I definitely would do that for sure. I mean, that's part of what social media is for, is reaching out to people, forming those one-on-one connections and being personable and sharing and asking for their input. I would say one way to improve that too is saying, hey, is there any content of yours that you would like me to share, so that it can be a give and take relationship as well. But yeah, definitely. Do it on Twitter. I know you mentioned me on Twitter about your article too, so I haven't read it yet, obviously, but definitely, reach out to people, reach out to influencers, reach out to people who you think it would serve and say, hey, I really think this might help you in your journey or whatever, definitely.
Are you sharing your article anywhere else besides those 2 platforms?
So I shared it on Facebook group as well. So I got some attraction from there also, but LinkedIn was the most useful platform for me. And one more thing I would like to ask you that, so measuring is the most important factor. So we need to measure what kind of engagement we are getting on likes, comment, and views. So right now I have around 50 likes on that. I have around 600 to 700 views on that. What would be the point when I can just stop focusing on measuring analytics on that particular content now?
Well, we can get caught up on measuring analytics. And I've talked about this in some of my blogs, and analytics make us feel all warm and fuzzy, and that's great. And getting 100 views or 50 likes is impressive. I congratulate you for that. But here's the thing: is that people, especially entrepreneurs, they look at these numbers and they say, oh, this is awesome. I'm getting all these followers, I'm getting all these likes and comments. But you want people to take action. You want to be able to drive them somewhere. If you have a call to action in your blog, do you have them go to your website? Do you have them take a look at, a book that you're selling? Do you have them take a look at a video? There needs to be some type of call to action where you can say, well, yeah, I got 100 views and 50 of them liked it, but I got 3 that actually gave me money.
Mm-hmm. And a call to action can even be like, sign up for my email newsletter so that you can get, weekly content or daily content delivered like this. And so your public content then becomes a showcase of what they'll get more of. So I know I email about 2 or 3 times a week, probably about approximately 3 times a week. And 2 of those posts are just insights that I don't share publicly until later on. So it's like you're on my email list and you get this insight, but then what I share publicly is almost like a sampling of, if you want to subscribe to my email, then you'll get more of this type of content. So definitely have a call to action. Yeah. That's really
on my LinkedIn. Every time I share an article, at the very bottom it'll say about Rob, and it'll say about the books I've written, and then they can click on the link for the books, and it'll go to my Amazon page where they can buy my books. Or it'll go at the very bottom, it'll have, for more information, go to my website. And then they sign up for, whatever I'm doing.
Definitely.
So you really want to be able to convert those to sales. And, I would rather see one person go to my article that actually clicked on it and became a customer than 100 people that actually viewed it and did nothing.
The views, so here's the thing. Vanity views like an analytics, so don't get so caught up in reading the view analytics, but know them enough to know that people are interested in what you're saying. So 100 views is great. It's really awesome that your content got seen that many times, and your goal is to increase that, but then to also increase who's going to your website, who's getting signed up to your email, and then from there who's buying. So that should definitely be the end goal in terms of measuring those analytics.
Thanks.
So, I think at the very beginning we asked everybody if they were a part of our social leverage Facebook page. And, I know some of you are because I see your profile pictures and they match up. But if you aren't, Devani is going to share the link again. We welcome you over there because you can ask questions every day, every week, and then we'll bring it up on the next show, and you'll be the first one, guys, to know, what topic we're going to be covering, because, we usually share that on the page, or we try to anyway, on the group. And it's a private group, so, you're not going to be inundated with a bunch of garbage that, we don't put ads, we don't put anything else, we just put pure content. It's there to help you guys. And
it'll be developing. We only started the show. I think this is just our second month in it. We do it weekly. And so it's small still, but we're planning on growing it. We definitely love your input on what you would like to hear, what you would like to learn about most in the marketing business world. So yeah, definitely interact in that group. And that is a wrap for today. Unless you have any last minute questions, we're going to wrap up.
So thanks everyone for attending. I appreciate it. And we will see you next week. We don't have a topic yet, but we'll be working on that in the next couple of days.
We'll probably be Instagram, because one of you mentioned that it was a big topic and we haven't covered Instagram yet. And so that'll be interesting. So we'll do that.
Yeah.
All right, guys, have a good week. Bye.